Oh, wonderful children. So good to see you. See you, Jab. I'm seeing you, Victor. So good to see all of you as you're joining it. It's going to be powerful today. Just do me a favor, would you? Click on the share button, family. Click on the share button. Yes. Good evening, son. Good evening, Victor. Good evening. God bless you. Just click on the share button. Let's see as many people we can bring in today. It's really going to be wow, family. It's going to be powerful, powerful. I can't even wait till late. No. Good evening. Good evening, my precious daughter. Now, this is the time to click on the share button. You know what I will ask you to do? Let's do about 2 minutes of, getting ourselves into a dancing mood and all that, whilst we take the time to invite as many people possible today. It's really, really going to be incredible because the topic of today, it's very hot. It's very hot considering what is happening, you know, in Nigeria, most especially, and around the world as well. It's time for us to start looking into some of these issues. Yes, my little girl, my daughter. Oh, happy blessed evening to you too, my precious, beautiful, gorgeous daughter. Happy, 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 happy blessed evening to you as well. Well, just click on the share button. You know what I'm going to get you to do. Just click on the share button and let's see how we can bring in people today. I am really excited because of today's topic. See, this is welcoming you to Like Gist with Mama Helen this evening by the special grace of God. It promises to be incredible. I know that it's something that is really going to bless a lot of people. It promises to be incredible. I am excited already about what God will use today's topic to do in the lives of everyone, because it really cuts across, we're considering the kind of topic we're looking at today. Like just with Mama, the danger of getting rich by hot means. That is the topic for today. The danger of getting rich by all means. That's what we're looking at today. Okay, so wherever you're joining around the world, I want to once again welcome you to Life Gist with Mama Helen. Oritsejafor today. It promises to be incredible because I have three wonderful people that will be joining in a little while, and I know it is going to be also. Oh, Miss KK, you should be the one sitting with those people today. Well, thank you for joining us as well. It's so wonderful. Amarachi, thank you for being a part of today's Light Gist with Mama. And we're looking at the topic, danger of getting rich by all means. The importance of money and being rich cannot be overemphasized in today's world. Almost everything is possible with money. It is an essential need to survive in the world. However, wealth have been over glamorized and everyone is in a hurry to get rich. Everyone wants to be rich. The undying quest for wealth and luxury have led to many taking shortcuts to success by getting involved in corruption and other forms of crime. Some have abandoned their morals and humanity to secure wealth and material possessions by hook or crook. Also, many have taken to killings for money, ritual purposes on a daily basis. Some have made rash decisions based on impulse and greed, hoping to strike it big quickly. Now, the question here is, how far would you go just to be rich? Well, to do justice to this topic of today, I have three wonderful people that will be joining in. And as they come, it kindly help me applause them. I'm going to be holding them one after the other. Okay. Kindly help me applaud them as they join it today. I am I am really, really excited, about that. Wow, look at that. Mrs. Elizabeth Olujiming, and then we have Mrs. Favor Onobanjo, Talents Brand. Wow. Nice to see all of you. We're not seeing the other face. I think it's Mr. Ganu. We're not seeing his face, but hopefully maybe we're going to be seeing him later on. But in any case, allow me introduce this wonderful women today to the house. Listen, we've had to shop around so to make sure that we have the best and the best. Let me start with um, let me start with Mrs. Elizabeth Olujumi. She's an award-winning coach, speaker, mentor, and entrepreneur. She has a passion to empower, inspire, and provoke people to live life at their full potential so that they can thrive. A message dared to believe empowers women to believe in themselves and confidently show up and shine with their dreams. Elizabeth is also a keen writer and has had articles published in various magazines. Would you please help me give it up for the one and only Mrs. Elizabeth Olujimi? It's so nice to have you on with Like Gist today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. It's a pleasure having you as well. And then next to her is no other person than Mrs. Favor Onobanjo. She's a passionate advocate for service-based entrepreneurs, specializing in helping them unleash their potential and thrive. She is the founder of Talents Brand Limited and co-founder of Business Innovation and Grow Big Circle. She empowers leaders, entrepreneurs, and startups to discover their unique identities and create a niche in the business world. Mrs. Favor Onobanjo guides finance, professionals, etc., etc., etc. This woman is actually a genius. Well, house, receive this great woman. I love it when women are really, really proving their what, how they, which means that you don't have to kill someone to get wealth, isn't it? We're not hearing you.
Thank,
This is
thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Pastor Mrs., thank you so much for the opportunity to come to your program to share my story and to inspire and empower others. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you both for being here. Let's just dive into the topic of today because I know many people cannot wait to hear from you. But let me pick it up from the top. At what point would we say someone is rich? At what point? Let's start with Miss Elizabeth. At what point would you say someone is rich? Oh, this person is a rich man or is a rich woman? At what
Oh,
point?
I think rich could be subjective. So depending on, I guess, what you have been exposed to, rich to me might not be rich to you.
Okay.
So I might say someone is rich, but you look at them and you're like, actually, no, they're not. So I think it there's no there's no set definition in terms of a set figure or an amount that you can say, okay, this person's rich. Because you might have someone, for example, who, yes, they're making loads of money, but their expenses are equally as high. And so they don't have much surplus cash. So are they rich? I think it depends on what angle you're looking at it from. But if we're looking for a particular figure of an amount, then it could be anything,
It
depending
could.
on who's defining it.
Okay. Oh, well, maybe Miss Favor should just jump in right there. What are your thoughts on this?
Right, thank you for that. What does it mean? What does being rich means to us? I think I'll to support what Mrs. Elizabeth has said is to me having that abundance of various resources, which includes financial stability, good health, even fulfillment in our relationships with families, friends, and including personal growth and sense of purpose, having that sense of purpose. So it's rather than solely focusing on wealth accumulation or individuals, what individuals has attained. I think it's even more in investing in our personal development, community engagement, and being all round balanced in every areas of our life. That is the way I would see feel rich.
Okay. That it means to be more comfortable. Can we then want to have some of can you
Can you?
turn it up in at the background, Mr. Ganyu? Okay, thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, can you hear me? Good evening, everybody.
We can hear you now, but we're picking some sound at the
Yeah, all right.
background.
Thank you. I was trying to settle in earlier, and so am I also to answer the same question?
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll get to you in a moment. Let me
Okay,
just finish up with uh with the two ladies immediately.
that's
I
fine.
just want
That's
to, yes,
fine.
combine the two questions together, if you don't
All right.
mind. It is to
All right. That's fine.
okay. It is to ask them, is it I mean, would you consider being rich as being comfortable, somewhat? What do you think, ladies? You can jump in.
I think comfortable is a good definition. I like what Favor was saying about rich being an abundance of various different things. If we focus specifically on rich in the sense of money or finances, I think being comfortable is a good way to equate being rich. Because when you're comfortable, then everything that's incoming and outgoing, you're managing it, to the point that yes, you can say I'm comfortable. So I think in terms of I guess a standard, comfortable is a good way to put it.
Comfortable is a good one. Okay, let's just quickly, because I can tell the Mr. Guy cannot wait to to be asked some questions. However, to our viewers tonight, we also have a gentleman in the house, and his name is Dr. Ganyu Bangboshe, who is a lecturer at the English Lagos State University and a columnist with Business Day newspaper, with about 200 newspaper publications. He holds a PhD in English with specialization in and many
Maybe.
else coming from Mr. Ganil, but because of time, I have to limit it today. So thank you for joining today's show. Like just with Mama Helen.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Good evening.
Good evening. Now, can you quickly help us address the questions that we've been able to post out to ladies in the house today? Simply, what is being reached to you, and is comfortable part of it? Is being comfortable.
Okay. Okay. So basically, I would like to, being a linguist, being a language person, I would like to address this from two simple perspectives. One, what does the dictionary say about being rich? And then how can we then extend it? Basically speaking, being rich means having a life of affluence where you have money. All right. This is what it means to be rich. So, except we are now we are going psychological, we are going sociological, and involving a whole lot of other variables. Basically, being rich would mean having sufficient money. And then taking it to the other side, if being rich would mean comfort, absolutely. I am certain there will be other questions that would make us diversify into a whole lot of other things that being rich can entail and encapsulate. But basically, being rich would mean having a life of affluence, and by that we mean having sufficient money to cater for yourself and provide your basic needs, and possibly getting for yourself a life of luxury. And then definitely being rich is a very good source of comfort. I would like to simply answer the questions this way, and then we'll see where that takes us.
Okay, fantastic. No, you, you've all done huge justice, if I may use that. I mean, uh, describe the way you have answered the
I've answered the
yes. And now let's quickly rush into it because of time, because I want us to be able to look at
look at
an
it,
important question.
important question.
Oh my God, I don't
Oh
know
my
why we're.
God, I don't know why we're.
Can you still try?
Can you still?
You can put up. There's still some degree of noise coming from your end, Mr.
Oh,
Believe.
okay, okay.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Okay, now, okay, so if we look at the word being rich or richness, as the case may be, it will be very, very important for us to be able to look at how to acquire true riches. Okay, because we know there are different ways by which people can make it. So let us look at the one that we know is authentic. How do you go about pursuing getting wealth, in a legitimate manner? Let's look at Miss Olujimi to kindly do justice to that.
Thank you. So, in terms of, I guess, getting rich and pursuing wealth, first of all, what problem are you able to solve? What are the problems that you can solve? Because in the times that we are living in, you get paid for the problem that you're able to solve. So think about a problem and what is the unique solution that you can bring to that problem.
Mhm.
And basically, you charge for the solution that you are bringing to the problem. So that's, for me, that's the first place to start understanding what is the problem I can solve and being able to bring a solution to it. Now, once you've established that, then look at the various ways. Look at, what's already out there. If it's a problem that's already being solved, what's the gap? What's the niche? What's missing? What can you bring to it? What can you add to it? And sort of starting that way and realizing also what are your gifts? What are your talents? What can you get paid to do? Because there's various different things that you can get paid to do. In the times that we're living in, there's some people that go to bed and people are paying to watch them sleeping. So it depends. What can you do? What are you willing to do? But effectively, what is the problem that you're willing to solve?
What is the problem that you're willing to solve? I love that, because in any case, if we have to relate it to business is about meeting needs, isn't it? So even at a professional level, it is still a problem solving venture. Now, Mrs. I want to look at it at Miss. Should I say Miss Tali? Brand?
You can simply call me Favor,
I
actually.
know. I wanted to.
Mr.
What
Brown, yeah.
doing presently. So, what would you say to that?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Just in support of what Mrs. Elizabeth has said, basically, when clients come to me, because I coach people who want to start their business, I help them to transform their talents, their expertise, their ambition into a business venture. The first question I ask them is, what do you actually want? Because we need to start from there. We need to ask ourselves, what do I really want? What do I really want? So without asking that, without being able to answer that question, we're going to be jumping from pillar to post. We're going to be trying so many things. And to add on top of what Mrs. Elizabeth said, once they get that first clarity of what, then the next thing is why. Why do you actually want it? That becomes their motivator. That becomes what keeps them going when the going is tough. That becomes what drives them to achieve the success the reach they want to achieve. And then once they get there, I'll jump on from the point of Mrs. Elizabeth. What do you have? What do you have? We don't want you to go out of what you have because we don't want you to be frustrated. We don't want you to say, I want to sing because I see Sinach singing, and I want to force myself to sing because she's making money, she's a star, I want to sing. No. What do you have that you can give? So we know what you have. I can cook. Oh yeah, can you? Can you teach others to cook? Absolutely. I've done this, I've done that. Fantastic. So let's look for people who are looking for cook then. They will now look for customers who are ready, willing, hungry to pay for that services, as Miss Elizabeth said. I think going from that angle, they are doing what they truly enjoy. They're working towards what they really want. That is their purpose. They are living their value. They are living their vision. And that way, they are internally satisfied with what they have, which bounce back to the points where you raised earlier on. Should we say comfortable? So some people, they do certain businesses, money is not coming in, but they are fulfilled. They are
Yeah,
happy
I,
doing
I,
what you're
I
doing.
think what we have just said there, Miss Favor, if I may say, is that you're asking them to pursue their passion. Okay,
Absolutely.
whether you get paid or not, when you're passionate about something, you tend to be self-driven, and all that, and you see to it before you now start getting paid for it at the end of the day. That's awesome. Thank you so very much indeed. I'm sure Mr. Ganyu cannot wait to come into this. Kindly go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Doc. But it's a problem when one is the last speaker because every time it seems all of the points have been made. But I'd like to I'll just summarize what they have said, and this is my way of capturing it. Every time you place money before value, you can't be genuinely rich. Every time you
And
place money before value, you can't be genuinely rich. So, in summary, real riches comes from adding value in one way or the other. So, what value can you add? It could be solving a problem, it could be making life easy, it could be anything. But first and foremost, let it be that there is a value you are adding and money would always follow. That's my submission.
oh, I love that. Beautifully said. Okay, because of time and knowing that we really want to be able to trash the topic of today, is to look into what is presently going on in our society. And in order for me to be able to do that, kindly permit me, I'm hoping that I will be able to play this. It's just a 1 minute or so um, play. Hopefully, I should be able to get that done. Kindly watch. We have an information from the head of security, the local security at Okiaregba area, that 4 young boys were seen burning something in a local port in Okiaregba area at about 3 a.m. This rose their suspicions and they quickly lodged complaint at our divisional headquarters in Adaton. Upon the information, the DPO Adaton division quickly led his men to the scene where 3 of the suspects were arrested. The 4th one escaped. On interrogation, the 3 arrested one confirmed to us that what they are burning is a woman's head. And they confessed that the head belongs to a lady simply known as Sophia Kennedy, a 20-year-old girl. And that the deceased happened to be a girlfriend to one of them by name Soliu Bajekodumi. It was this Soliu that lured the girl to an abandoned building where they fused the neck of the victim, and after killing her, they used a cutlass to cut off the head. Okay. All right. I think I'll have to stop there. Why would anyone, if there are better ways of making money, why would people subject themselves to killing another human being just to make money? I want our women to speak to this because we're all mothers. A 20-year-old girl, she still has so many things ahead of her. I mean, no time for me. If you had seen that picture, you probably would be a little bit teary right now. She was killed for money making. Can you please address that? Okay. For the sake of trying to intertwine, let's look at Miss Favor as intake in this, please.
Uh, yeah. Thank you so much. It's so pathetic, and I think this can only come down to our values. This can only come down to our values, where again I can only use examples and stories when I'm coaching few people, mostly women. I coach mostly women, and I start with, oh, so tell me, what's your core values? They don't know. Many of them don't know. And I'm like, oh, so what do you enjoy most? What is your strength? What is your weaknesses? They have no clue. So, whereby we don't even know our core values, whereby we've allowed the society to define us, whereby what drives us is competition. We're so competitive in terms of what is happening around us. I think it's a big problem. And the only way we could probably address is from the roof. It's from the roof, which is a big one. It's a big one.
From the root. Okay. Miss Elizabeth, kindly comment.
I'm reminded of a verse in the Bible that talks about the heart of man is truly wicked. And when people are desperate and when people are greedy, they can literally do anything. There's a hunger for the wrong things. There's a void in their lives that they want to fill, and so it drives them to do things like what we just heard. It's really sad that we have people like that, but that is the reality of the society that we live in, is that there are some people who are comfortable and there are some people who are desperate enough to kill for money, desperate enough to do whatever it takes to get money into their hands. And just linking into what Favor said about values, our values drive who we are. They drive our actions. So if we are filled with greed to the extent that we would go and do what those men did, then there's a serious lack of values, and we need to train. We need to go back to the root of training, training our young people, training people to just value life, because life is important. You can't put a price to life.
Obviously, you cannot. I mean, the two ladies have spoken about value. And I'm also reading from one of viewers tonight, Amarachi. And Amarachi is saying every time you place money before value, you can't be genuinely rich. Mr. Ganyu, what would you have to say concerning that? What on earth would drive this young man into taking another life so they can be rich? What has gone wrong with the society? What is it? What has gone wrong? Because they said charity begins from home, isn't it? What could be the genesis behind this? What are the things that seems to be driving our young ones, not just the young ones, even the elderly ones, into committing such an atrocity?
So, I am going to repeat that one word we cannot stress enough: the question of value. And in addendum to what the two other speakers have said, what I want to say is that we are beginning to lose one very big virtue that we have in Africa, and that is the virtue of communal existence. The virtue of communal existence, where I understand that my neighbor's daughter is my daughter, where I understand that the next door neighbor is my family. Africa is the only place in the world where we still have such communality, but unfortunately now we are negotiating it. So it still boils down to value. And so the only thing I will add is that the value we are talking about here is not one to be taught in schools. It is one we all would go back home to inculcate in our children. The types of values which we learned growing up with some traditional poems. If you're a Yoruba, for instance, you would know the poem Ishelogunshe. That is, it is only through work that you can possess genuine riches. All of these simple songs, values, virtues that were deposited in us as children have served as compass for us until adulthood. And until we all are ready to return to our homes to entrench these values and virtues, I'm afraid we are not even prepared for the things that are to come.
We're not prepared, obviously. Now, what would be the place of peer pressure, in these quests for easy money? What would be the place of peer pressure? You can jump. Any of you can jump in, ladies. Okay.
I think
Okay. She seems to be in a bit challenge with that. Miss Elizabeth, can you kindly jump in there?
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. I think some of these instructions seems to be coming from you.
based on what everyone has said, Mr. Gani
Sorry,
has
seems to
said,
be having. Oh dear. Can you hold on, please? Let's try finding out where this echo is coming from. And is it? Have you an internet challenge from your end there, Mrs. Onobanjo? Because you seem to be having a slow speech and then it's cutting off as well. Okay. While she's trying to get that done, Mrs. Olujimi, can you kindly jump in there and help us out?
Yes, definitely. I think peer pressure plays a big role among young people and even the older generation. I think because people look and they compare themselves to others, and so they want to be rich because they see somebody presenting a rich life, and so they want a share of that kind of life, and so they will. There's people who have made their wealth genuinely, and there's people who just want to acquire wealth so that they can be like somebody else, and they don't realize that there's different journeys to making wealth.
Yes.
So for some of them, they're not willing to pay the price to make wealth in the genuine way. And so they want to do it any which way is the way that they're trying to do it. So I think, yes, peer pressure does play a big role. But it's one of those things that, again, it's coming down to values. It's coming down to who you are. It's coming down to what you stand for. To what extent are you willing to go? Because it's kind of like corruption. To what extent are you willing to go to get money in your pocket?
Okay. Yes, because you see, the reason why I brought up that question has to do with the fact that you have some of these young people still in the university, but they want to be driving the kind of cars that even their fathers have never even been in. So, I mean, and you see someone, or perhaps maybe they even have some of their mates whose parents are afford some level of comfort, and just me seeing them, they feel that they need to measure up. They get some of these vices, as it were. Now, Monica from Canada, she's saying no more emphasis on dignity in labor. No more emphasis on dignity in labor. What would you have to say to Mrs. Onabanjo?
Thank you for that. That's a good one. I think, as Mr. Gani was saying the other time, the communal thing that bond us together is gone now. It's now on zero level. The value is all gone, and people want to, as you said as well, Pastor Mrs. People want to drive. The young one, they want to drive the cars that even their parents who are even richer couldn't drive in their time, and so they want to be at that level. I recently, actually not recently, during COVID, I prepared a workshop, and I got a group of my secondary school mates. Actually, I did that workshop for them around entrepreneurship, and I was telling them about what we've been telling
Oh my God. Our internet doesn't seem to be strong. Okay, Mr. Gani, can you try in?
All right, so can you hear me?
We can hear.
So the first thing I need to make clear is that peer pressure is real.
their expertise to transform that into business. And many of the men.
Please go.
All right, so I need us to understand that peer pressure is real. It is not something we want to trivialize. I am a university lecturer, and I want to let you know that if you do not have a healthy self-esteem, even as a lecturer, you can be intimidated.
Wow.
You can be intimidated. I must tell you that a student had walked into my office with a car key, the key of a Benz. I have been asked by students, would you want us to send you 100,000? Would you want me? One of my colleagues was recently asked by students, would you want me to change your car? I missed your exam. All right?
Serious? Now you're serious?
Yes. Yes. So I must tell you that this pressure we are talking about, it isn't some very simple thing, and it is not to be trivialized. Peer pressure isn't just a phenomenon associated to young people. If you do not have a very good esteem, even as an adult, you can be pressurized into doing what is against your core values. Now, to summarize it, where lies the solution? The solution to peer pressure lies in a content life. It lies in a content life. I would always tell my students, I am not intimidated by what I cannot afford. I am not intimidated by whatever I cannot afford. Even as a lecturer, the phone with which I am taking this seminar, I got it for 90,000 about 2 years ago. Whatever, if your life, like I would always tell them, if your life is tied to materialism, you do not have value. If your worth is tied to materialism, you do not have value. So one way to go about it is for us all to have a life of contentment and to understand that our worth, our real worth, is not determined by material possession. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. A10 is saying that we live in a society where people are celebrated because they have money, regardless of how the money is made. Isn't that a big challenge, Mrs. Onabanjo? Can you hear us, Mrs. Onabanjo? Okay, we're not hearing you. Try
I
fix.
can hear you. I changed my internet provider only just yesterday, so it has
Okay,
not properly set in. So my
well,
sincere apologies.
not at all. No, that's fine. That's fine. So did you hear the contribution from one of our viewers out there, Ate, and she said, we live in a society where people are celebrated because they have money, regardless of how such money is made. What would you consider as a big challenge here for us in the society. I mean, people celebrate. I mean, I've seen people on the streets of Lagos and some other cities in Nigeria, for example, literally doling out money, the likes of Yahoo boys. I wouldn't know if you've ever heard of that. I mean,
I have.
okay, beautiful. So, looking into that, some of them back home at the village, they can be made a chief. Okay, why? Because they have some money. And then you look at all the people who really want to work, they want to contribute, they want to add value to the society, they want to make their lives better. However, they are challenged by an 18-year-old young boy coming into the village with a Porsche car and lots of money, throwing it around, and then he's made to be a symbol of respect and honor, even given a chief title, without even finding out how he or she might have come up with their money.
I think one of the speakers said earlier on that we have to go back to educating ourselves, not just the young ones, even the elderly one, our parents, our leaders. We need us to be informed. In this part of the world, people that are being categorized and being as being reached are the people that are making impact in the society. And seriously, they don't have to drive a big car. They don't have to, I was at an event yesterday with the mayor of my local area. The car he brought, nobody cares. We're all dancing together, doing stuff together for Black History Month. It doesn't really matter. You see, so I think that education is very, very important. I was sharing earlier on where I had events and all the men in the during in the event, they're like, no favor. How can you tell me that I don't need to think about money for starting a business? Why do I want to start a business in the first place? If it's not going to bring me money for starting a business? Why do I want to start a business in the first place if it's not going to bring me money?
We're beginning with challenge with it.
And I said to them, look,
I might have to remove it for now. Okay, so would you want to speak to that, Mrs. Elizabeth? Hey, um, what happens to us? I mean, the moral values that you just emphasizing on. If people are celebrated without really looking at the pedigree, without checking out, the source of where this money seems to have come from, should that be something that should be allowed in our society? Because that is part of the things that seems to be rubbing off on the younger generation, because they're wondering, I mean, you don't need to go to school. All you need to do is to make money, because at the end of the day, you'll be given an award, you'll be celebrated, or, just splash money around and all that. And that's the kind of life. What's your take on this?
I think we all have a part to play. We all have a part to play in training ourselves, but also training the next generation, so to speak. And the gentleman spoke earlier on, Dr. Ganut spoke earlier on about like self-confidence and self-esteem and things like that, and those things are so important for us as this generation and the generation that's coming. It's so important for us to instill the right values, but also the right morals, because morals are gradually degrading within society. We find our leaders are not being the example that they need to be. Our leaders are the very ones setting the pace, when it comes to money and wealth, because, for some of them, they're coming into power because of the money they have, not necessarily because of the difference that they can make to the community or the way that they can serve the community. It's about the money that they have and the money they're willing to dash to their supporters, which is ridiculous. So we all have to we all have a part to play in it. We all have a part to play in educating, but we also all have a part to play in standing up for what is right.
Standing up for what is right. I love that. We all have a part to play, and we need to stand up for what is right. Mr. Ganil.
All right. So from a realist perspective, you can't do anything about the rich people being celebrated. Even the Bible says money answereth all things. All right. So the first thing is let us get our battle right. The acknowledgement,
Is
the
this
honor, the honor bestowed on rich people isn't something we can question, isn't something we can do anything about. What then can we do something about? What we can do something about is raising virtuous people who will appreciate genuine life
hmm,
and making people understand that every time you negotiate your way to the top, you wouldn't last.
awesome?
These people we are talking about that are celebrated, do they last? They don't. So we only need to raise more young people who would understand the importance of virtuous life and who will change the narrative. But then, for as long as people are rich, no matter how they get the money, it is even scriptural. They will be celebrated. So our only task is to raise virtuous people who will get this money in genuine way. But any rich person will be celebrated. It is not a thing of this time. It has always been so. It will remain so.
Okay. Well, we don't have any problem with celebrating someone who's made it, who has been able to rise from grass to grace. That at the source at of wealth that I think should be brought into questioning when decisions have been made, especially when they have been validated in in a place of being given an award or title, being made an oba, and so on and so forth, because these are our institutions, that portrays respect, dignity, and what somewhat. So, I mean, on whatever you want to look at it, and in any way you want to look at it. Now, if by any means they do not represent, what they ought to be representing properly, that can be a shame. Because even the Bible says, money is the root of all evil.
May I ask a question, ma? I think you should also let us reverse the role and
Because
ask you a question, ma.
okay, go
I'd
ahead.
like to ask you a question, ma.
Please go ahead.
When a young boy makes money in a fraudulent way
Yes.
and with such money sets up a legitimate business, how do we question the illegitimacy of his money?
Now, listen. There's an history to everything. All right. We cannot say that if a young man, because one of the three that would immediately make you to know if a young man possibly got his wealth illegitimately is the noise that seems to be made and the frivolous spending as well. I just gave an example to some of our Yahoo boys, some of them at age 15, rest of them see them driving some flashy cars, and sometimes they could stop at the market area or somewhere they feel there are people in there, and they open up the window and start spraying. I mean, you would never see someone who might have come into wealth legitimately doing such. Okay, so it is the way that the flamboyancy and the manner they carry on. That's how you get to know if at all they've ever been there. And then, of course, character. Character speaks volume. Okay, I can almost tell if someone, one does not have a complete compass to everything in life, but that there seems to be some level of, you know what, something is wrong about this young man's wealth. This money that is flaunting around is not legitimately made. And this is where I rest my case on that. Okay. But in, in general, I think what we're trying to say here is that fine, make the money, but let it be legitimate in a legitimate way. That's what we're looking at. Now, let we jump into what some of our the money is the root of all evil. Okay, fine. Your husband here, I think this must be your husband, Miss Elizabeth. The man is rooting, seriously for you, Miss Pastor Tunji. Tunji, that makes, in fact, that even gives me more joy. Thank you so very much for being a man, indeed, rooting for your wife, on this panel today. Okay, I'm trying to look. Okay, yes, this is coming from Victor, and Victor says, we live in a fast food generation. The church is quick to celebrate members, start asking questions. We are used to young ladies with uh, big girls is it big girls now, whatever, who flaunt lifestyles from sleeping with politicians. Yeah, we also have, I think this is another angle too. And that's why I decided to read it. Not so much about, church, but in general, okay, we also have some of our girls as well who sleeps around, okay, with married men and so on, as all for money. What do you have to say concerning that? I, now that I know that you're also a pastor, uh, Mrs. Elizabeth, go ahead.
I think just to first of all to remove the bias. I think it happens both ways, men and women doing
Yeah.
it. So let's be clear on that one before we just go for the women.
Okay.
But in terms of, I guess, how people go about making the money, I think one of the things that's going to be important, or that is important, is for people who are making money in a legitimate way to actually speak up a bit more, share their stories a bit more, so that they can be role models, so that they can tell their story and people can know, okay, so this is the journey that I must take if I want to get to this place that this person is at. Because we're in a social media generation. People see something on social media, they see pictures, they see videos, they don't know the story behind it.
Okay.
And on social media, anyone can post anything. I could post that I'm in one country which I'm not even in. Anyone can post anything. So you have to first of all understand, like, who are the people that you are looking up to, because that's important.
Yes.
Who are the people in your circle? Who are the people influencing you? Because those people who are influencing you are going to determine how you're running this race. They're going to determine what you're trying to reach for. So it's important for us to have role models who are actually genuinely speaking up about their journeys. I can mention someone like Dr. Stephen Akintayo. Like, when he shares his story, his journey of making wealth from where he has come from and where he is today, like, it's a genuine story. And he's actually, running organizations where he's helping young people to come into wealth by sharing his story and actually equipping them to also be able to do that. And we need more role models like that in society to speak up. The sad reality is that even, in church, we find people are coming into church just because of money.
So true.
It's not that God has called them, but they see money in church. And that's why they're starting churches here, there, and everywhere. And,
That's
we need to be conscious of who we are listening to, who we are watching, who we are following. What is their story? What is behind the glory that you're seeing?
Awesome, awesome, beautiful. Okay, because of time, two things. Number one, we want to look at the dangers of getting rich. I mean, in an illegitimate way, and then we also want to provide solutions to these as well, just for time's sake. Now, what are the dangers? Because at least if people know, then that should be enough to caution them. So I would like to look at Mr. Gani coming into this. What are the dangers behind uh, getting rich by all means?
Okay, so essentially, I am going to share one. Like I would always tell my students in principle that when you take shortcuts, it cuts your life short.
I love that.
Yes, when you take shortcuts, it cuts your life short. The first danger in this whole thing is that when you get to the top by any other means aside value, you cannot sustain it.
You can sustain
Yeah.
it. Also,
You cannot sustain it. That is the first thing. What then is the solution? The solution is to let young people, like I said, I have seen students who drive cars at 25, and I'll ask them, if you drive Benz at 25, if you are lucky enough to live till 65, what will you be driving? We
mm,
need to let we need to let young people understand that life and living come in turns.
mm, mm.
There is a period to wait.
Mm-hmm.
I told someone just yesterday that if you give me, I drive a 2004 Toyota Camry. If you give me a Jeep now, I will ask you if I can sell it. If you say no, I will return your Jeep because I can't maintain it. I will get to that, yes, I will get to that stage where I too can maintain an SUV. But for now, what I can maintain is a 2004 Toyota Camry. Life and living come in turns. If all your blessings come in a day, where will you keep them?
Mm.
Where? So, yes. So we need to let them understand that there is a need to exercise patience and understand that life is procedural. Thank you.
Life is a process. I love that, Mr. Kadi. And I love the adjectives you used. Thank you so very much indeed. I wouldn't know if Mrs. Onabanjo would have something to say concerning this. I know you've been struggling with your
Indeed.
connectivity. Yes, so, but it is
Yeah.
well. Yeah, go ahead.
Indeed. Just quickly before I get kicked out again, I think Dr. Garnier has said it perfectly well. You can't, life is you can't get everything you need at one stage. There are
Mhm.
stages in life, and it has to follow that way. And that is the way it is. When you have it at early stage, you might not be able to you know, appreciate it or manage it. But waiting for the right time is the perfect time. But again, it talks about solution. I think for me, solution is that education. I think we need to educate our young ones that being rich, getting rich in a quick way is not what will make them to be who they are meant to be in this world. It's far, far more than wealth and money. It's far more than that. It's
Okay.
high time we can start teaching them about adding value, communal partnership, and developmental.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, Mrs. Olujimi, um, couldn't this be fitter? Couldn't be? I mean, we just watched, something a while ago coming from the police here in Nigeria about an incident that took place with a 20-year-old. What would you have to say concerning? Couldn't it be fitter? The danger now.
Definitely, it is. It could be, but it depends on the individuals themselves. It
Okay.
depends on the individuals. It depends on where their mind is, where their heart is. Because money can drive you. It can drive you to do some good, amazing things and make impact, but it can also drive you to do evil. We hear stories of people killing relatives for inheritance, things like that. And people lose their lives because of money.
So
We
true.
hear that. That's the sad reality. But I think the piece on education is going to be an important one. Educating people about money, because there's someone said something one time that money is one of the conversations we don't like having, and yet we all want money. We don't want to talk about money, but we all want it.
We
So I
all
think
want.
We need to bring the money conversations, start having money conversations, from a young age. Start having conversations about money, the dangers of having so much money. How do you spend money? How do you use money? I have a 5-year-old. We talk about money with her sometimes. Nowadays she knows about this is costing this, that's costing that. So we need to start having those conversations at a young age to equip our young people, to enable our young people to know how to handle money, because you find people who are frustrated because they don't have money, or they might get money and they don't know what to do with it, so they squander it, and they're not investing in education to know what to do with the money. So yes, it can be fatal, but we have a chance to make sure it's not fatal by educating, by being the change we want to see.
Amen. By being the change, I love that word. By being the change we love to see. And this is coming from Dr. Carol Dixon, and she says, make legitimate money and live a comfortable life. I think I love what she, I mean, that's just the whole summary of today's event. So we're looking at solutions now. What are the things? How do we mitigate this? Knowing the danger. I mean, the danger elements are enormous, actually, but we can't spend too much time looking into that. I want us to now use the remaining minutes to address the solutions. What are the things that has to be in place to mitigate this get rich quick and then at all cost and at all means? Before she leaves, talent brand.
Yes, before I disappear again.
Can you kindly jump in, please?
Yes,
That
quickly.
was
I
so
think
good.
it's Yeah, I think it's something we've all covered during this conversation. It's that, I mean, we could be pointing fingers at the government, saying the government is not giving enough, government is not doing enough. But I think we all have responsibility here. The parents have responsibility. I think while I was at the back of the stage, I heard Dr. Gani is talking about, asking a question there. How do you know? How do you tell if somebody has made money in a wrong way? How can you tell? And this is the truth. The lecturer won't be able to tell, the government can't tell, but the parents might be able to tell because they are the most person that is close to them. Their friends can be able to tell, their relatives can be able to tell. So we all have co-responsibility uh, in creating that change, to just echo what Mrs. Elizabeth said, creating the change you want to see. We hold that responsibility. So one of the key thing will be training, educating our young ones and educating our parents. They need to know that it's not just about acquiring what,
Okay.
it's about what can they give as well.
Okay. Because of
What do
my
they have they can give?
All right, beautiful. Thank you so very much. I love the aspect of bringing our parents to fore on this particular subject because I would want to bring in a point from there. And this is with some of our women, not all, please. Some some of our women, unfortunately, I've had cases of girls coming crying to me. My mom keeps demanding for money. My dad is putting pressure on me for money. I am just in school. How do they expect me to get this money? What do we need to, what do we, because, excuse me, it is actually happening. Unfortunately, I've seen a scenario where the young, a young lady said, I'm being pimped out. I'm encouraged to go after married men for money. The lists are endless. All right. So I want us to actually address this very seriously. And I would like to go straight to the mothers of the house foremost. So let me start with Mrs. Olujimi. I mean, isn't this, appalling for a mother? I mean, let's be honest. A child who is in school, maybe university or whichever, and then you are expecting that child to be coming home with money. Where do you expect that child to come, to get money?
It's it's a very sad scenario. It's a very sad state of affairs. It's a reflection of how the system is broken.
Yeah.
The system is broken, and I was saying earlier on that we all have a part to play, and sometimes playing that part means acknowledging that you don't have any money background, you don't have any money knowledge, you don't, like, acknowledging where you are and the lack of knowledge, and then actually making a decision to change and go and acquire the knowledge. Looking at the scenario that you have raised, it's really sad, when girls or even boys are pressured to go and make money, yet the focus should be in that season of their life to get an education or whatever it is. It's sad that that's where things are, and really it's a case that those parents need to be educated. They need to be educated, but we have a problem where it's not just, I guess, families that are struggling, but it's an entire system that has brought about this problem. And so there has to be a going back to, like, the grassroots level to see where exactly is this system broken, so that we can fix it. And we can look at the scenarios, like, in different nations. Like, the scenario you've mentioned is probably one that's mainly from Nigeria, but, like, if you look at the different nations and look at the different systems that governments might have in place, for example, here in the UK, there's the benefit system, and so that helps a little. That means that people don't necessarily have to go and pressure their children for money. Yes, there might be parents doing it, but there is that leeway in the system, in the governmental system. And so our leaders have a role to play. Our leaders, as much as, yes, parents have to raise their hands and say, I don't know what I'm doing here. I have failed. I need educating in this area, but also our leaders need to put an emphasis on this situation and put in place some systems, put in place things that will help to alleviate people who are suffering from a lack of knowledge of money.
Who is suffering from that? Okay, fine. Maybe creating microcredit and so on and so forth. Because what is leading to our mothers doing this cannot only be anything outside of poverty, but nevertheless, we must not lose our self-worth. We must not lose our self-worth. There is no justification to it at all. Well, I can see how you are itchy concerning this, because I can't imagine a mother, a child you carried in your belly for 9 months. I mean, to start selling the child because of money. I don't know. Her background is that you, as a mother, you wouldn't even mind to go at any length to make sure that your children are taken care of, not the other way around. All right. Mrs. Onabanjo, please speak to that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think, Mr. Olujumi has said it well, and I actually kind of experienced this as well while I was still in Nigeria. One of my friend, and her mom would, like, once, like, she has a new boyfriend, and the mom would, like, oh, so what does he do? How rich is he? Very rich? Does he have money? And those are the criteria the mom will use to accept any man she brings in. And again, seriously, we can only blame government from now up to tomorrow. But I stand on the fact that, as Pastor Mrs. said, there is no justification. We have to know our worth. We have to know our value as a parent. It should be the other way around, not the children, supporting the parents while the kids are still in school. It shouldn't be that way. So irrespective of what it is, it may be as a result of poverty. But for the fact that we are poor, we don't have enough, doesn't still mean we should lose our sense of responsibility, doesn't still mean we should lose our sense of values. That's
Awesome.
my take on that.
Yes, awesome, and so true with that. Okay, because of time, we actually just have 19 more minutes, and I wouldn't want us to. I would just love to go into this. So we have Someone out there. We started it off at the beginning, but I think we need to really, really concentrate on that. Let me read something from Teddy. Pastor Teddy for, and she said, parents need to be educated to do better. We must not put pressure on our children to get money by any means. We should be, excuse me, please, we should be an example of godliness with contentment whilst pursuing honest means to get money. Thank you so very much indeed. I love that contribution. Hence my, my reading it. Anyway, so I'm going back to the question I want to ask us. What are the stages of making wealth? Mr. Gani would have to come in this case. What are the stages of making wealth? Someone is out of fine. I want to make money legitimately. I want to make money. But I want it to be through a legitimate means. What do I need to do? What are the stages? Mr. Gani.
Okay, so I'll talk very quickly on making money, but please, I do not wish to be excluded from the point of parents letting their children or their girl children go,
Please, you
because
have the floor, Mr. Gani. You go ahead.
yes, yeah, because I have students who come to me for this kind of complaints. There is a perspective we all have neglected. The
Okay.
perspective from which we have all spoken is the need to talk to the parents. I want to talk to the children. I need us all to understand that irresponsibility is not age bound. There are irresponsible adults.
Yeah.
So, in as much as we are all advising the parents to be responsible, let us tell these young girls, your mother and your father are not your liabilities. We have what we call first person singular personal pronoun. I. You come first in your life. If you
Yeah.
have a parent who cannot provide for you and you are trying to provide for yourself, they should not worsen your burden by expecting you to provide for them. That is irresponsibility.
It is.
So my point is to the young people, they should understand that their parents who have failed them should not become their liabilities. And on the steps involved in getting real wealth, the first thing is identifying your potential.
Okay.
When you have identified your potential, the second and salient thing about rich wealth is that if it will be real, it will not come immediately. If
Hmm.
it will be real, it will not come immediately. This is what many people do not understand. As I speak with you, I'm a columnist with Business Day newspaper. I am paid. And when my students ask me, what can I do to become a paid columnist too? I tell them, I have been writing for 4 years before Business Day started paying me. Have you even started writing at all? So
Hmm.
the first thing is we need to let young people know that when you have identified your potential, there is the period of investment. There is the period of investment, and it is after this period that you can begin to expect return. Thank you.
Awesome. I love that. That is you're actually talking about internship, you
Yeah.
know, volunteering before you can even get paid for your talents. I love that. Any of the ladies can actually jump in?
Maybe I jump in quick because we don't know what's going to happen yet. I think, Dr. Ganil, thank you. Well said. Well said. And to add to that as well, we've been talking about training, mentorship, supporting our young ones, and making it clear to them. First of all, they need to know what they want, set goals of what they want. And it comes with development, ongoing development. There are tons of online trainings that are free that they can get on. Um, Due to what I do, there's a website called Fiverr where young ones showcase their talent. What do they do basically? You don't need to be a graduate uh, uh, has
So to
certificates, be a graduate or to have certain big certificates. All you need is, few talent. Maybe you can write very well, you know about graphic design. Go on there, showcase your talent. And people can start buying from you gradually, $5, $10, $15. And as you progress, as you improve, you sell your gig more expensive at a bigger price. And some of them are they are catching like 1K a month or even more than that, dollars a month. So, but it starts by first of all knowing what they want and what do they have, what talent do they have that they can, transform, that they can, build into a business. And they start gradually, as Dr. Gani said, it starts gradually. There's a waiting time, there's a trying time, there's a development time, and there's a time you reap the reward. So that way, they will get to where they want to get to, especially when they have a clear vision.
Fantastic, fantastic. Find out what you are passionate about and follow up with it. Awesome. Mrs. Olujimi.
I think I'll take it back to what we said earlier on about adding value. So, what value can you add? What skills do you have? Because sometimes there are things that we do that we don't realize that we can get paid for those things. We just do it as a hobby. We just do it as a kind of like, let's say, for example, plaiting hair. Some people just plait hair. They don't know that they can be making some good money for plaiting hair. Or some people bake cakes. They don't know that actually there's people who are willing to pay quite a lot. So what is the skill? What is the thing that is in your hands? And then when you identify what is in your hands, how can you nurture it? How can you grow it? And how can you use it to your advantage so that it brings in wealth? And another example could be even writing a book. We could encourage our young people to get into the habit of writing a book and actually building something with what you have written. So not just writing a book and forgetting about it, but writing a book and doing something with it. So there's different skills that we all have. There is something in our hands. There is something that we are all good for. So find out, what is that thing that I am good for? What is that skill? What is that thing that's in my hands? How can I nurture it? How can I grow it? And how can I use it to make impact, to make income, to create influence? And once you establish those things, then you start to realize that actually even, something like public speaking, if you like to talk, once you nurture your skill of speaking, there's people who get paid, over £10,000 to speak for half an hour.
So true.
Just to speak, just to talk. So it's discovering what is in your hands. What can I do? And is there a market for it? Is it solving a problem? Is there a niche for it in the market? And using that, and social media can help a lot, or technology nowadays can help a lot. Like Favor was talking about Fiverr and things like that. There's loads of different websites like that. You can do voiceovers. Literally, you can use your voice, and your voice is making money for you. So there's loads of different things that we can do, and it takes educating ourselves. It takes learning, because there's some young people who are making loads of money. Like during the lockdown, I was hearing about, there was a young man who made loads of money, was here in the UK, but one of the things that he did was literally, he realized what are the things that people are ordering the most during lockdown. And he found a way to source those products, and he started selling them. And just within lockdown, he was making thousands. And he wasn't even 20 years old.
He wasn't even.
It's educating ourselves as well, and just being aware of what's the market like. Let's not shy away from those conversations.
Awesome. I'm seeing Pastor Tunji Olujimi, posting some websites that I presume might be of help. I'm seeing something like www.upwork.com. Is another, according to him. I think he must have posted one before that.
I think he posted Fiverr before that.
He's posted Fiverr before that. So, I mean, these are some places. And you also heard what Mrs. Onabanjo also spoke about, on how you can engage to doing something. But what is the place of patience in this? Because I think this is what is really eluding a lot of people. All right? In growing wealth, it takes time. It takes time. Okay? And the aspect of, the kind of microwave of making money, you throw in this, and that's why people also sometimes get duped, because when somebody is offering you this, says, okay, give me £10 and then you make £200 in the next 20 days. I mean, no one needs to tell you. that person is probably going to rob Peter to pay Paul. And then when he's finished milking you over and over, then you have to pay back all the money, at a later deal. So the question here is, how do we get them to understand that nothing good comes easy? Number one. Two, patience is golden. Patience is golden. Let me go to Mr. Ganiu. He's a lecturer in the university, and he has a lot of young people under him.
All right. So the first thing is, let us be the adults we want them to become.
Woo!
All right.
By
It is
example.
easier. Yes, it is easier to say these things. Is your life exemplary?
Awesome.
Can they look at you and say, okay, I want to reflect his
Yes.
personality? So that's the first thing. And then on patience, one thing that would work out, that is, there are two kinds of things you can be doing. There is a career, okay, which pays at a later time, and there is always something to do to sustain your life and living. I am a public speaker. I am a content creator. I teach language through humor. And then I tell young people that there are certain things you can't call your job growing up. You can't be asked as a young person, what do you do? You say, I am an actor. I am a musician. I am a public speaker. No, these things are things you should do by the side until you become accomplished at them. If you start your life and singing is what you call a career, if you're not careful, if you do not rise to stardom early enough, you will get frustrated and do the wrong thing.
You deviate.
So there are immediate jobs you can take up. Work in a supermarket and earn a living. Teach young people and earn a living. So my advice on patience is, while you are pursuing your career, ask yourself, is this the kind of thing that yields immediately, or the kind of thing that has to be watered for a very long time? When you want to be a singer, a motivational speaker, an actor, these are careers that take a long time to water. While working on that, get something as a means of sustenance. That is the only way you will not be frustrated. Thank you.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right. So we just have 6 more minutes to go. And this is the time when I would want our speakers to actually speak from their hearts. If someone comes to you and say, you know what? I don't want to fall into the game of getting money at all costs. However, what can I do? What are all the things that might be in your heart and you haven't shared yet? Just in 1 minute or few seconds, as it were, so that we can round up today's show. Thank you so very much indeed. So let me start with Mrs. Onobanjo, so that our internet does not fail, so that I end this program. So let's start with Mrs. Obasa. What would be your bye-bye speech to someone as your advice?
Well, my bye-bye speech will be, we are all created uniquely, and we are all created with something great inside of us, so we need to discover it. We
Also,
all need to discover that. And
find that.
there are so many ways we can discover that. We can carry a certain personality test to actually, the personality test will help us to confirm, yes, this is me. This is what I enjoy doing. And
Exactly.
find something that relates to your interest and start building on it. I do have very, 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 very strong belief that when you do what you truly enjoy, you thrive. And in times of waiting, you wouldn't feel it that much because you're enjoying what you're doing. If it's teaching you enjoy doing, you can start by teaching primary school who are preparing for entrance exam. Even if you're not earning enough, you're enjoying it. The little money that comes will be, you enjoy it because you enjoy what you're doing. I think that is the first place to start. And that is my word today for anyone looking to say, how do I get started? Find out your genius stone. Who are you? What do you want? And find out what you can start working on from now going forward.
Awesome. Incredible. Incredible. Okay. Mrs. Olujimi, kindly jump in. Your bye-bye speech.
I think I would follow on from what Favor said. So find the right environment, because you need to be in the right environment. And that environment means who are the people that you need around you? Who are the people that are going to help you to grow in this thing that you want to grow in? So finding the right mentors, the right coaches, being somebody who is teachable, so you can learn from the people around you, and realizing that Rome was not built in a day. So your success is not going to come in a day. There is going to be pain. There's going to be sacrifice. There's going to be so many things along the way, but you have to be in for the long haul. So yes, earlier on, Favor talked about your why. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to make the money? Understanding those things will be so important in your journey of getting started.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oof, oof. These women are great, and the man in the house as well. So let's hear from Danny.
All right. Since our focus is young stars, I want to make just one statement. And that statement is your needs are not so expensive. Your wants are the things putting you in trouble. Your needs are not so expensive. Your wants are the things putting you in trouble. That's all.
Awesome. Your needs are not so expensive, but your what you need to check, to pay attention. We've heard from this wonderful people today. This is Elise me, incredible, and then we also have the talented brand Mrs. Favor or not Banjo, and then Mr. Ganiu as well. Thank you so very much. You started audience today. You can see quite a on today, and the ODS is because you've started playing your Mr. Gani. You kindly can you cut off, please? Going off. Thank you. So you've heard them. They have spoken from their hearts, and the whole essence, what they are saying is that you have something to offer. Don't waste your time on frivolity. Concentrate on what you have and build on it. At the end of the day, nothing's stopping you. When it comes to being wealthy, of course, it is a great feeling, but having financial freedom in a genuine way is far better. Getting rich through illegal or bad means is a potential bomb that you do not want to wait until it happens. Losing someone or killing someone or robbing people or selling yourself or, with all that vices that are out there just to make money is not enough. Of what use is it if you acquired this whole world and you ended up losing your soul? You do not want to do that. Many of them have had to subject to getting into cult as a result of this, and then they are given a time band to be rich, in which thereafter they are gone, all because they want to make money. Why must you sleep with your siblings? I mean, when we start getting into some of these issues, they are so dirty, just to make money. The quest for money has become a big danger zone, and we do not want that. So I think what we've heard from our panel today is that, hey, you can make wealth, you can get rich, but do it in a legitimate way so that it will be self-sustaining, and you also be going to be proud of it as well. In any case, what is adding value without hard work? There is nothing on earth that comes easy that is good. And there is nothing good that comes easy. I beg your pardon. And it means that you're willing to work hard. And then, of course, you also want to be able to contribute to the society as it were. It has been on Life Gists with Mama Helen today. We want to say a big thank you once more to Mr. Gani. Thank you so very much. We know how busy you were and you decided to be part of this. I was at one point told that you might not be able to make it, but somehow you did. You can't imagine how far your voice today has gone around the world, just being part of today's show. And then, of course, Mrs. Favor Onabanjo talents brand. Okay, I was going to get her to say something about that, but I think she did during the course of some questions being answered. Hey, terrific you are. Thank you also for being resilient, because you could have gotten tired and said, well, this is not working. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about patience here, So thank you for bringing your wealth of knowledge and experience to bear tonight. And then, of course, Mrs. Elizabeth Olujime, thank you so very much. And whilst I'm thanking you, I would also like to thank your husband as well, because even though he is not right on the screen, but he has been at the background rooting for you heavily. And I love men who are very supportive of their women. So kudos to you, Pastor Olujimi. I am proud of you. Thank you for being so supportive tonight as well. And to all our audience out there, you have been wonderful. You've contributed one way or the other, and we've all heard you. And it is our prayer that everyone who needs to hear this must have heard something tonight, and then it would also go out there and do something about it. And we can't close it by not addressing our parents as well. See, it is what we make our children to be at home that it will become out there. Let us play our part in ensuring that we give them the kind of values that will make us all proud of them tomorrow. And then, of course, like Mr. Ganiyu said, be the adult that we want them to be tomorrow. Thank you so very much, our guests. Thank you so much. And then for our audience, mwah, mwah. We'll see you some other time on Life Gist with Mama Helen. Thank you and God bless you. Bye-bye. You want to say bye-bye?
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye. Have a nice one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.